Yes, welcome back to Suzuki Stadium, where we've seen a 14-all draw between the Tigers and the Devils. An amazing game of football in many ways. In fact, I'm just thinking back to right at the very beginning, where we saw Norths on the attack and Trey Clark threw a pass when he probably could have run over and scored a try himself. But I'm joined by the Tigers assistant coach, Darren Smith. And Smithy, coming back from watching that pretty sterling 80 minutes, punctuated by a lot of penalties and a lot of dramatic moments which both teams could probably have improved on. But how do the coaching staff feel about a 14-all draw after so much action?
Yeah, last night I was at the Broncos, and what a dramatic game that was, and it was a pretty close fought win there. And today, just another exciting game of rugby league. And it's as a coach, it's very hard because you obviously you want your team to win, but all in all, I think rugby league came out of that as a winner. In that
Would you like that to have gone to extra time? Golden point?
Yeah, I don't mind golden point, yeah. Let's have a decision.
Well, you nearly got a decision, because if Todd Murphy lands that penalty goal, you'd be feeling a lot worse than you probably are right now. 1 point's a lot better than none.
Yeah, no, he was, luckily for us, he was off his kicking during the game, for his goal kicking, but his general play kicking, he was excellent. It's just always landed in goal. I think we had about 8-9 repeat sets. We had to, dropping out and trying to tackle again, and they just wore us down. And but credit to our boys, they really toughed it out. There was a lot of times there when they were really struggling, and there was doing a lot of defence, but they hung in there, and we're probably a little bit lucky to get away with that 1 point.
Yeah, pretty courageous when you think about all the tackling they did have to do, defending those repeat sets and penalties as well. What's your view? The penalty count was something like 12-9, 12 penalties to North, 9 the way of East. That's a lot of penalties for a start, but just concentrating on the penalties the Tigers gave away, is there an area that can be fixed there?
Oh, there's always areas that can be fixed after a game, and we've got to go back and look at the tape and just see what was the cause of those penalties. Whether it's just laying in the tackle or just being a bit lazy. With the amount of defence that we did, eventually some of our guys were getting a bit too tired and we were struggling to get off the tackle. And we can look at those, and we'll have a look at all the penalties and see where we need to fix them. But also, in credit to our guys, we had more or less two outside backs. Javan at the back there had to go off the field, and Michael Kai on the wing had sustained an injury, and was struggling there as well. So when you
stayed on,
we don't really plan to have backs getting injured in the game, and to have two of them getting injured was pretty tough for our guys.
Yeah, on the positive side, particularly in the first half, I thought the attack looked really promising. Kind of broke down once or twice, weren't able to capitalise, but it seemed to be functioning very. A lot of combinations starting to develop.
Yeah, it's we seem to be having the same players week in, week out. We have a few changes here and there, but and they're forming those combinations pretty well. And a couple of the plays in the first half, we let ourselves down. We didn't get to where we wanted to get to, and if we stuck to our game plan a little bit more, like Anderson there in the first half, he's over the try line. If he went in a little bit lower, stayed upright too high, and they held him up over the line. We just little things like that can, can get you extra points that you need.
On the other hand, in the first half, I thought the completion of the sets left something to be desired. The kicking game on the end of them just wasn't always nearly as effective as it needed to be.
Yeah, no, our kicking game today, was in comparison to North's was pretty poor.
Yeah, and you're right. It was a pretty tough comparison because Todd Murphy was very good.
Yeah, he was really on his game today, and credit to him. He had a great little kick in there and always got him behind us. But, our completions, we were around the 70 to 80%, same as North. It was a very high completion game today, and, and as you've seen, it was a very good game to watch.
Yeah, completions in terms of handling, but not in terms of penalties. I mean, more than 20 penalties in a game. That's one every few minutes.
Yeah, but we can count them as a completion.
You can count them as a completion. That's true. But I think you also need to maybe both teams for that. Not Murphy, but the Tigers. You need to give a percentage of quality finish to the set, because how you put pressure on them at the end of a set is so important.
Yeah, it is, and and especially if you give away a kick over the dead ball line, you're giving 7 tackles away, and you just can't afford to do that. When you've been under pressure and defending, and you finally get up to the opposition's line, and we kick it and it goes over dead ball, and we just give them another set of 7 tackles to get back into our territory again. Makes it very hard.
Who impressed you today for the Tigers? Who are you really happy with?
I thought just overall our forwards went really well. I thought Leon at the back there in the fullback, and he was on the wing there for us as well, and he went out to the back fullback when Jarvan went off. Now he was very impressed. He's only a young kid, and it's only I think his second game for us, and he impressed.
He looked pretty composed, didn't he?
Yeah, well he made about 175 metres last week. He was one of our only players to get over 100 metres last week. Against Mackay, and and this week he's just he's gone up another notch again. So he was pretty impressive. Luke Lavelle making that was it 50, 60? Will probably be 100 by later on tonight. But that try where he scored over in that
was it Luke Lavelle? We had it at Ashley Little.
No, it was Luke Lavelle.
The speed.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, because I don't think Ash is that quick.
Okay. well, that's what we were saying. We didn't think Ash Little, but I thought the number on his back was Ash Little.
Yeah, no, I think it was Luke Lavelle.
Oh, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah,
I guess. No offence to Ash Little.
And he was filling in the centres out there too, so he did a very good job, ran a very good line, and Jake Foster, made sure he put him through the gap, and it was a pretty good run for him.
Well, you better apologise to Luke Lavelle for us because we didn't have the try down against his name.
Ash should be wrapped. Yeah.
So there's definitely some of the positives. I mean, we don't want to go back to the things that weren't right, but twice mistakes from kickoffs today.
Yeah, and that was a very good kickoff too. But let's not forget it was a very good kickoff from North. And that first one, it just just got the right bounce, and it was we just couldn't do anything about it. It was just one of those kicks that it landed just in front of the players, so they weren't able to get to the ball. And once it bounced, it just had one of those freakish bounces that just went out over the sideline, and that was a very good play by North.
So how do you assess then a 14-all draw? Was it one that got away? Was it one that you were luckier to get a point? How do you see it?
I think if you look at both sides, would be thinking, well, it's probably a point that got away. We did very well with the amount of ball that North had to be able to hang in there and be in there and fighting until the end there. North had plenty of ball, had plenty of opportunities, but we just kept turning up, which is a credit to the boys.
All right, and Scott Sipple, just to get us an idea of his mindset at half time, when Norths were leading 10-6 and had just scored 2 tries just before the break, what was he saying at half time?
Oh, we were positive. We were in the game. We knew they had that many repeat sets on us coming at us, and our defence was really holding up really well. There's a couple of leaks there with those tries, but we were doing very well, and it was very, very positive with the talk, and we just got to look at the positive side of our game, and which if we got to our sets where we wanted to get to, there was opportunities for us.
Have you had time to speak to Scott after the game yet?
No, he was just wrapped that we got the point, I guess, in the end, and he was off there. I think we had the presentations there for the black and white cabs presentation for the cup, so he was down there with that. Yeah. So
2 wins and a draw to start the season from your first 4. I guess if it was the beginning of round 1, you'd be saying that's okay.
Yeah. No, it's positive. We're taking a lot away from it at the moment, and we're still improving. And that's a good sign that we're still improving and that we're always looking at ways of being better. And I think we are getting better each week.
And just quickly on Javan White, do you know how serious the injury is?
No, I think it might have been just a cork thing, fingers crossed. But
I thought Matt Crowhurst said it might have been a medial ligament.
I haven't had a chance.
He certainly seemed to be in some pain, but hopefully. But he did stay on the field till half time, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, no, geez, he's an asset to our team. He's come across this year and new to the club, and he's just been fantastic for our side. And if he is out for an extended period, that's going to be a big loss for us.
Okay, you should have Shane Newman back next week, available.
Yeah, it's good to see someone's a little bit older than me that's struggling with injuries. He reckons it's just a bit of a cork that just playing up on him and not age. So he's hopefully he'll be back next week.
All right. Yeah. Good on you, Darren. Thanks for coming up. Darren Smith, of course, one of the Queensland legends of Queensland footy. And we'll be back in just a moment to wrap it all up here from Suzuki Stadium. A 14-all draw between the North Devils and the East Tigers.